Welcome to Pharaoh Code, where the secrets of ancient history come alive. From the mysteries of Egypt's forgotten dynasties to the wonders carved in stone, we uncover the hidden codes of our past, one discovery at a time. Subscribe and step into a world where time speaks. In 1979, while Belgian civil engineer Robert Bouval was waiting for his flight at London Heathrow Airport to his workplace in Sudan, he was reading a book titled The Sirius Mystery by Robert Temple. The book discussed the beliefs of the Dogon tribe, an African community currently located in Mali. For thousands of years, every 50 years, the Dogon have held a ceremony called Sigui, during which they perform a complex dance based on the apparent movement of the star Sirius. They believed that this celebration helped communicate with the dead. The mysterious part lies in the fact that Sirius is a binary star. Two stars, not one, known as Sirius A and Sirius B. Sirius B completes an orbit around Sirius A every 50 years, meaning the Dogon were aware of this information, which is why they held their rituals every 50 years, coinciding with the orbit. Sirius is one of the brightest stars and belongs to a group known as the Great Dog. What's even more astonishing is that Sirius B was only discovered about 150 years ago, and it cannot be seen with the naked eye, only with a powerful telescope. The first photo of Sirius B was taken in 1970. So how could the Dogon, a relatively simple and primitive tribe, know about the movement of this star, which requires advanced astronomical knowledge? Robert Temple, the author of the book, concluded that the Dogon's astronomical knowledge was inherited from the ancient Egyptians thousands of years ago. To uncover the mystery of Sirius, one must delve into the history of ancient Egypt. Inspired by this book, Robert Bouval embarked on a research journey that took him over 10 years to complete. In the end, he arrived at an idea that could potentially rewrite all of Egyptian history. He concluded that Egypt, with its Nile River and pyramids, is a mirror image of the sky, the pyramids, and the Orion belt. Robert Bouval was born in Alexandria, Egypt. At the age of 16, he moved with his family to London, where he graduated as a civil engineer and lived his life there. Like millions, the pyramids had always been part of his thoughts. In 1982, he visited the Egyptian Museum in Cairo. When he saw an enlarged aerial photo of the Giza pyramids on the wall of one of the museum's halls, Bouval stood in front of the image and began observing it. The photo, taken from a plane, showed the pyramids from a high altitude, about 2 kilometers away, but the image was clear due to the sheer size of the pyramids. As he stood before the image, 3 questions came to mind that he couldn't ignore. The first question: why are there 3 pyramids? Why not 2 or 4 or 5? The known answer among Egyptologists is that the pyramids are tombs for the kings of the 4th dynasty, built around 2500 BCE, and the 3 pyramids belong to kings Khufu, Khafra, and Menkaure. However, for those who reflect, why, for instance, did Khufu's son Djedefre build his pyramid at Abu Rawash, about 10 kilometers away? Why didn't he build it alongside his family on the Giza plateau? Menkaure had a son named Shepseskaf, also a king of the 4th dynasty, who built his tomb in Saqqara, 18 kilometers away. Why didn't he build it with the others at Giza? The second question: why is Menkaure's 3rd pyramid so much smaller than the 2 pyramids near it? The 3rd pyramid is only 65 meters high, almost half the height of the 1st and 2nd pyramids. The most common explanation from Egyptologists is that King Menkaure built a smaller pyramid to reduce costs. However, this explanation is unconvincing because Menkaure's pyramid contains massive quantities of red granite, with some pieces weighing over 10 tons. The red granite was transported from Aswan, over 1,000 kilometers away, making it extremely difficult and expensive to cut and transport. Why not use limestone if the goal was truly to save costs? The third and final question, and the one that puzzled Bouval the most: why isn't the 3rd pyramid aligned with the 1st and 2nd pyramids? If we draw a line passing through the center of the 1st and 2nd pyramids, we find that it deviates slightly from the 3rd pyramid, as if the 3rd pyramid was not in its proper place. Some have suggested that this is due to the geological structure of the plateau, which could have led to cracks or collapses if the pyramid were built in alignment. However, no one has provided strong evidence or a geological study to prove that a collapse would have occurred if the pyramid had been aligned. These three questions intrigued Robert. Why are there three pyramids on the Giza plateau? Why is the third pyramid so much smaller than the first and second? And why is the third pyramid slightly misaligned with the first? For years, Robert was puzzled by these questions, and he wasn't satisfied with the existing explanations. As a civil engineer, he deeply believed that the pyramid's sizes and locations were designed all at once based on a unified master plan. The pyramids were all built on one layout at the same time. It wasn't like one king built his pyramid, and then his son said, "I'll build mine next to my dad's," and so on. No, it was all done together, like designing a modern city where you plan out the roads, buildings, schools and hospitals all at once on a single blueprint. Surely there was a unified plan for the pyramids, but where was it? Robert couldn't find an answer until he was on a work trip for a project in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. During a weekend, he went on a desert safari with friends. One night, while walking with a French friend who was interested in astronomy, his friend pointed to a specific group of stars in the sky and told him it consisted of three stars that weren't in a straight line. The smallest one was slightly tilted to the east. Boval looked at where his friend was pointing and suddenly yelled out loud. His friend asked, "What did you see?" Robert responded, "I see the three pyramids of Giza." Robert had finally found the key to the mystery, the stars of Orion's belt. Orion's belt is a constellation made up of three stars of a larger constellation known as Orion, which represents a powerful figure hunting prey. In that moment, Boval realized that the pyramids followed the exact pattern of Orion's belt. This explained the sizes of the pyramids and the distances between them. The three stars of Orion's belt, Al-Nitak, Al-Nilam and Mintaka, are similar in size and brightness, matching the three Giza pyramids. A line through the centers of Al-Nitak and Al-Nilam extends slightly beyond Mintaka, just as the Giza pyramids are aligned with a slight offset for the third pyramid, Menkaure. This was the unified plan he'd been searching for, a groundbreaking discovery. This was only the beginning. Boval discussed his idea with several Egyptologists, reaching out to the head of the Egyptology department at the British Museum, Dr. Harry James. But Dr. James dismissed the resemblance between the pyramids and Orion's belt as mere coincidence, a response that was, of course, quite discouraging. However, Robert didn't give up. He spoke with the renowned British Egyptologist Dr. Edwards, who was excited about the idea and encouraged him to keep researching. Boval didn't stop there. If the Giza pyramids were built to match Orion's belt, what if other structures were also designed after celestial bodies? He turned to study the pyramid texts, a collection of some of the oldest sacred Egyptian writings found in the pyramids of Unas, Teti, and other pyramids in Saqqara. These texts, inscribed within the pyramid chambers, talk about the king's journey to the afterlife. Something that caught his attention in these texts was the mention of a watery path in the sky, as if there was a celestial river. One of the texts describes the king saying, "You lift me up to the winding watercourse and place me among the eternal gods, the imperishable stars." In another passage it states, "The winding watercourse is flooded, and the fields of reeds are filled with water, and I am transported there to the eastern side of the sky, to the place where the gods created me, where I am reborn young." These texts undoubtedly describe a winding waterway in the sky and the king's journey from west to east, allowing him to dwell among the eternal stars. The ancient Egyptians considered the stars to be the home of the gods. Many Egyptologists interpreted this winding waterway as the Milky Way, which appears as a winding river in the sky, visible from Earth on certain nights. One particularly significant line from the Hermetic text states, "Egypt is an image of the heavens." Most people who read this phrase take it as a metaphor, symbolizing beauty and tranquility and so on, but to Robert it was meant literally, not figuratively. Egypt was a true physical reflection of the heavens. His research revealed that Egypt, with its Nile River, 7 colossal pyramids and everything associated with the Fourth Dynasty, was a mirror image of the sky. The Nile is an earthly representation of the Milky Way, symbolizing the celestial Nile, and the 7 pyramids on Earth resemble the 7 stars in the sky. Each star's size, intensity and relative position matches the Milky Way galaxy. The Abu Rawash pyramid corresponds to the star Saif, the 3 Giza pyramids mirror Orion's belt, the Zayat el-Aryan pyramid aligns with the star Bellatrix, and the Dashur pyramids match the stars in the Hyades cluster. So the true meaning of the Hermetic text becomes clear. Egypt is a mirror image of the heavens. The ancient Egyptians held a special reverence for Orion, which they called Sa or Sahu, and Sirius, known to them as Sopdet, as its rising marked the flood of the Nile, the lifeline of Egypt. Astronomically, Sirius is linked to Orion, which appears ahead of it in the sky. In Egyptian mythology, Sirius was associated with Isis and Orion with Osiris, while the northern stars were linked to Seth, Osiris's brother and rival in legend. This theory leads to a significant realization. The pyramids weren't built in isolation from each other, as previously thought. Instead, they follow a unified design, part of a grand engineering plan rooted in religious beliefs, land surveying, and highly accurate astronomical knowledge. From day one, it was decided that 7 pyramids would be built in these specific locations as part of a single overarching project. The design was laid out at once, but construction could span over 100 or even 200 years, more or less. This wasn't an issue. It wasn't as though King Khufu decided to build his pyramid at Giza, and then King Khafre chose to place his beside it, each one designing and building as they liked. Clearly this story isn't accurate. The idea that the bent pyramid was a mistake, and its angles changed during construction, leading to the red pyramid being built nearby, is incorrect according to Robert's theory. Over the next episodes, we'll see that there's no such thing as a mistake or coincidence here. The claims in books about design or construction errors aren't actually mistakes, but were intentionally made to appear that way. For instance, the red pyramid in Dashur matches the star Aldebaran, and the bent pyramid corresponds to the star Elnath in the Taurus constellation. Aldebaran is known in astronomical literature as a red giant because over millions of years, the hydrogen in it has transformed into helium, generating intense heat and turning its surface red. Do you think it's just a coincidence that the red pyramid is placed in a position that corresponds to the red star Aldebaran, and that it happens to be built from reddish limestone? I'm of course unconvinced that it's a coincidence. After extensive research on the relationship between the pyramid texts and the stars, Robert published his theory in an archaeological science journal called Discussions in Egyptology. He felt he had done his part by linking the pyramids to the stars and decided to stop at that point. But a very small observation would open the door to an even greater discovery, the true age of the pyramids.